Welcome to the Illuminati broadcast. I'm your Lord and Savior, David Moore. Welcome. What's up? David Moreno. Get used to it. All right. So, last night, let's talk about a dream I had last night. Today's Saturday, the 28th, March 28th, 2026. Last night I had a dream that I was spinning in circles with Brendan Urie, and he was holding me, and we were like spinning in circles, and we were singing a song and holding each other, and it was a lot of love. It was very beautiful, and I'm like, oh, I love him. Too bad I have to destroy him. Anyways, yeah, because remember, when you're in the Illuminati, you have to destroy what you love, so you could be set free, right? Yeah. So like, instead of letting him hold me back, I have to take the evil route this time. You know, I did everything the right way last time. I have to do everything the wrong way this time so I can actually be free. Look at my makeup. Kind of matches my candle, huh? Yes, fierce. Look at my little bunny teeth. Anyways, what else happened in the dream? I was fighting this girl named Ariana, and like I was breaking her bones and like attacking her, and I was like really powerful. And then I kept winning all these fights, and then the police came, but when they came, they were afraid, and I looked at them, I was like, and they just ran off. They just drove off, and while they were driving off, they were like, "We love you," and I was like, "I know." So that was a pretty good dream. Pretty powerful dream. Pretty powerful, deep message in it. All right, so let's look at the spirit for today and see where we're at. So today's the 28th, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So this is where we're at today. So most likely, yeah, when we see the moon, it might be it's almost getting to that full moon, right? And the full moon, it looks like this, right? Like it's a really bright orange, like it's very bright and glowy. Oh, so we're getting closer to the full moon. So today we might see the full moon, I guess, or something about it. Whatever. We're gonna notice something about the moon today when we go look at it. It's gonna be really big, and it's gonna be in the east. Okay, interesting. So we'll just see what it looks like, because we're learning, right? We're going with the diagram and letting it teach us. We're letting this diagram teach us. All right, so we're here. This is the 28th, so that would be, so this is 50, remember? 52, 54, 56, 58, 60. So let's look at spirit 59 and 60. If you know Hebrew, then I don't know, tell me what that letter is, because I'm still learning Hebrew. 59 and 60. We have Orion. That's why you have Orion's belt in that area. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, because look, when the Grand Cross is in the sky, especially in the month of March, because March is Saturn, right? And it's the beginning of the year. Well, January, yeah. So this is December, January, February, March. So January is Saturn, March is Saturn. But in this month, we're noticing the Grand Cross is in the sky, and it connects with the Orion's belt. So it makes that little squiggly line somewhere like right here. And that's where Orion's belt is, in this area. And I guess that makes sense, right? So that's probably why they named it Orias. The 59th spirit is Oriax or Orias. He is a great marquise. Do we remember what a marquise is? It's a water sign. It's the moon. It's the moon sign. So it's a spirit of the moon. So this is a marquise. That means it's in the west. It's a moon. Its element is silver. Its metal is silver. Its element is water. Its symbol is the cup of Joseph. I don't know if you guys know the story about Joseph. He had a silver cup, and he would use it for divination to help the pharaoh. and he had a technicolored robe, right? And his brother sold him for gold, and then they go back to him, and then he's working for the pharaoh, and then he frames them, and then he forgives them. There's a lot that goes on in there. All right, so we know he's a marquis. He's from the west, energy, and his primary zodiac signs would be Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces. So we could see him as like this aquatic spirit. He appears in the form of a lion, or the face of a lion. That's interesting. So we don't know why he has a face of a lion. It could be the fact that Aries, which is Mars, and fire and sun, which is associated with, the lion. The lion is always going to be anything that is the sun and Mars is going to be Leo. So since he's here, he's going to be hitting this area. So I guess that would be his face because he's facing this way. Let's see. In the form of a lion, riding upon a horse, mighty, great, and strong, with a serpent's tail. We can see this could be the horse with the serpent's tail, the little Hebrew letter right there. But we could also see the Capricorn is kind of that horse with the serpent's tail. So that lets you know, like, because this would be Virgo right here. So these are probably Virgo signs, and then these ones are the Capricorn ones, and then these are the Taurus ones. So he's probably right here. And Capricorn is seen as this kind of like a chimera, basically. That's why they have stories about like a lion with a half goat and then like a snake's tail. This could be that idea of that. Which actually makes sense. Form of a lion, riding upon a horse, mighty and strong, with the serpent's tail. And he holds in his right hand 2 great serpents hissing. So he has 2 serpents that are hissing. That could be that little signal. But it could also be seen as him holding this Saturn and this Saturn. So these are his 2 snakes, right? His office is to teach the virtues of the stars, which we are learning, obviously. And it's like, I love astrology, but I don't I don't try to memorize the math behind it. I don't try to memorize each planet and star's name. I don't try to memorize every constellation. I just look at the moon and the stars and I admire them. But thanks to these spirits, they're letting me know a little bit more how it works, right? It takes time. They teach you at a pace. His office is to teach the virtue of the stars and to know the mansions of the planets. Remember, these are the mansions right here. I would say these are mansions as well. So we're still learning about that. And how to understand their virtues. And we are learning about their virtues now, right? Like, we know that Jupiter is water. We know that Saturn is lead. We know that Mars is fire and iron. We know that Venus is copper and air. So we know those things, right? Those are virtues. But virtues could also be like, what are they for? Like the sword of David, right? Because it's an air. It's just letting you know, like, this air can conquer a lot. And if we look back in ancient times, like Ishtar and Inanna, she was a warrior goddess. She was like this very powerful woman. That's why when you play chess, the queen can do a lot of things because she's using this and she's using this. The king is using this, and then the rest of the pawns and the rooks and the knights are using these energies. He also transforms men, and he gives dignities, prelacies, and confirmation thereof. Also favor with friends and with friends and foes. Today a friend took me to Walmart. Like, he went out of his way to take me to Walmart, and it was really nice and helpful, and I appreciate it, Let's see. Understand their virtues. He also transforms men. So this would be a good moment to do like transformation magic. Like, let's say you want to become something or someone, or you want to transform something about yourself. Right now is a good time to just throw it out there and let them do the rest of the work while you put in your little tidbits here and there while you're transforming. Because you don't transform right away. You transform over time. But there's a lot of rituals you can do. Like, I do ritual magic where I transform instantly, and I just go through the universe and transform the universe, transform people. I just do a lot of transformation magic, and just, I guess you could call that manipulation magic, because in, like, let's say Hunter x Hunter, what do? They put the pins in their face and their body to manipulate and transform something, right? Transmutate. Or transmutation, right? And he gives dignities, prelacies, and confirmation thereof. So he'll give you a lot of signs. When you're like, God, please give me a sign. This is how he's going to do it. Remember, these are all parts of God. I think today the best way I described it was when you read the stories about the angels, they describe them as chariots and giant wheels with tons of wings and tons of eyes. That's all God, but those are pieces of Him. So these are pieces of God, and they all are autonomous and work in His glory. They sing in His glory, right? We hear that a lot. So when you're working with these spirits, they're taking their time to come down from heaven to work with us. So they're not far from us, they're working with us. So if you need a sign, they can help give you a sign. They really can. Just ask, be like, hey, can I have a sign? And they'll be like, all right, I'll send you these colors, or I'll send you these noises. And sometimes it could be kind of dangerous, because you could be like, give me a sign, give me a sign, give me a sign, give me a sign, and then it'll like, it can hurt you, where you end up like going into psychosis, and we don't want you to go into psychosis. Sometimes you have to experience what it feels like to be under psychosis, but for the most part, psychosis is something that's like a really high level ritual in a sense, because you're completely transforming your whole mind and body and being transported to another world while you're still here. But you could end up like hurting yourself or hurting people around you. It could be very dangerous, and I don't recommend it unless you have like the funds for it. That's why they say go into the wilderness and study this, so that way if you do go into psychosis, you're gonna be safe, because you're not gonna hurt nobody or yourself, and you're not gonna make a fool of yourself. But if you do make a fool of yourself and you come out of it, you're gonna learn a lot from it, right? Like a lot of people, like I'm in peer support, so that means I have lived experience where I've gone through a lot of like the good and the bad, and I can share that with a lot of people, and I can help them make their own decisions in life. I can show them that like if I can suffer from the same illness and make good decisions, so can they, right? And to be happy with your life at the end of the day. Yeah, we're gonna look at his sigil real quick. You see it's right there, that little, yeah, kind of looks, to me it looks kind of like a, I don't know, like a wing, like a bird almost. But if we were to look at it on here, I guess we could see that like with, maybe we could see it as these three circles with this circle and this entrance holding it up, and then the cross is in the middle, and then it connects with these planets or these ones as well. You can look at the sigil, and once you look at these, it actually makes a lot more sense than just looking at the sigil, because you're gonna look at the sigil and be like, what does it mean? But once you have this template, you can look at a sigil and be like, oh, okay, it makes sense. So you know he's here, but he's actually like this big, he has a big form. He's on both sides almost, you know? The next, well, in Pokemon, that would be Scyther. Yeah, I guess his scythe, right? They look kind of like moons, and they're silver. Even though he's a green Pokemon, he has these like scythes, right? And he rules over 30 legions of spirits. Let's see who number 30 is real quick. Number 30, 28, 29, 30 is Forneus. He's also a Marquise and a great sea monster. Ooh. Alright, so, but we don't really see like, I don't know, Scyther, he's a bug type Pokemon. I guess these could be the serpents in his hand, those two moons, right? Alright, number 60, Vapula or Nafula. The 60th spirit is Vapula or Nafula. He is a Duke, great, mighty, and strong. Duke means what? Venus. What is Venus? Copper, green, air, Gemini, Aquarius, Libra, the morning, the east. Those are what it's associated with. Those are its main components in the wheel, right? All right, appears in the form of a lion with griffin's wings. All right, so let's imagine a lion with griffin's wings, huh? So I guess he has this lion energy, and these would be his griffin wings. So he'd probably be facing this way, looking like that. Who knows, right? You got to use your imagination. That's the point. They're allowed to bend and shift and move throughout the chart, because you're gonna imagine things differently than I am, right? I have a completely higher level of imagination, and you probably have a lower one. But just because you have a lower one doesn't mean that you might not see something that I can't see. You might see the basics better than I do, but I can see like a little bit further. just because of my experience. And then there might be somebody who's way more experienced than me. You never know. Like, there's a lot of Magic the Gathering fans out there that are pretty intelligent with stuff like this. His office is to make men knowing in all handicrafts and professions. So he can teach you a lot about how to do handiwork, right? And that's what Earth is all about, handicrafts. Also, when you're doing like the 12 steps in Alcoholics Anonymous, the 10, 11, 12 are going to be ruled by these Earth signs. So it's going to be Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. And that lets you know, like, hey, now that you're born again, right? Because number 10, you're born again, you're ready to carry on that message to people. And you're carrying weight. This is a weight. This is Atlas. He's holding the world up, right? With his strength. Earth is strength. Fire is courage. Fire can be strength too, but Earth is primarily like this calm strength. Fire is more of a rambunctious, energized strength. But we also know that Earth is your sacral, your sacral chakra, not your solar chakra. Red is your root chakra. Gold is your solar plexus, but your sacral chakra is this, your energy, your sexual energy, right? Your virility. But handicrafts and professions, you know, you're now that you have you made your amends and you can carry on in this world with a new vision, a new prophecy, a new perspective, that Virgo energy. And then that Capricorn is you're on top of the mountain, so now you can see everything and you're like, wow, look at all the stuff that I can do. I already seen all the messes that I made. Now I can see what I can clean up. Now I know what I can do. Now I know how I can make my life better and keep it safe, right? Because Capricorn's all about safety. And Taurus is that hard work. Now he's carrying the sun. So now you're carrying this message with you and you're sharing it with the world. And you're doing the best that you can, because a bull can only do the best that it can. But it also plows the field and you can till it and you can regrow the vegetation with the seeds. And they're very helpful and handy, right? And they're nourishing creatures. And they're very loving and kind and beautiful, but they can be very powerful when they need to be. So these are the things you need to take into accountability when you use the Ars Goetia. And that's why a lot of people go crazy, because they don't understand the virtue of life, right? They don't understand the virtue. They're just like, life is life, we don't care. No, there's a meaning behind life, and it's a good meaning, and it's very simple and plain and in your face. You just have to apply it. So also in philosophy, so that was pretty philosophical, right? And other sciences, he governs 36 legions of spirits. 36 is Stolas. So Stolas is up here. So let's see, 36, 34, 32, 30. So this is 30. So that's that fire energy for Auriax, for the Marquise. Even though it's another Marquise because it's going west, but whatever. But we also have Stolas too, which is the prince, right? So it's like this nighttime invisibility, 12 o'clock in the middle of the night. So which makes sense because Taurus is also 12 p.m., Libra's 12 p.m. Taurus is 12 p.m. at night, but it's seeing it from your perspective, right? And then Libra's 12 p.m. at night. Is it 12 a.m. or 12 p.m.? I always get it wrong. I think it's 12 a.m., yeah. So Taurus is 12 a.m. at night. And Libra is 12 a.m. at night. But this is our perspective, and then this is the sun's perspective. He's behind that pole right now at 12 a.m. at midnight. He can't see past it, right? He only sees, like, the other side of the world that he's on, which would be, like, England and Israel at our time. So that's pretty cool. And that makes sense, right? Because he's Venus, and he's working with the... so this is the spirit of West. Even though it's in the north, it's northwest still, because he's over here on the western side, so northwest. And then this would be more of that north energy, right? And then this would be that northeast energy. Yeah, and this is his sigil. You can see the heart. So I guess you can kind of see, let's see, if we put the cross here, we could put the heart here, and it's like traveling, and that's like it being weighed by the feather. It could be have something to do with that. But in Pokemon, that would be Jinx. Jinx. That's why she has like long blonde hair. The blonde obviously means lion, like gold, and it looks like griffin wings when you look at it. So I'm like, whoa, they do kind of look like griffin wings. And she does teach handicrafts. You can see her using her hands. She's pretty smart. She's psychic, so I guess that's where the philosophy comes in. So you just have to look at it that way. And another thing I guess you could say, since she's an air sign and they're in the west, it lets you know that's ice, right? Because air and wind and water make ice. And then plus she's in the northern sector, so it gets even colder, right? Because at this time of the day, this would be what, 6, 7, 8, 9. So like, let's see, 6, 7, no wait, yeah, 6, 7, 8. It would be like at 9 o'clock at night where her energy is boosted, like the beginning of 9. So this would be like 9 o'clock, 9:30, and then this would be like 10 o'clock, right? Or like 9 o'clock, 9. Let's see, we want to divide 1 hour into 3 parts. So this would be 9 o'clock, 9:15, or 9:20, 9:25, and then, no, we want to divide it. Well, we got to divide it into 3 parts and then move on to this one. So 9, 10, 11, 12. But this 9 o'clock has 3 parts to it. Anyways, yeah, so that's pretty cool. But if we notice, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, there would be like, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. There would be 8 spirits in total at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock would hold 8 different spirits. Okay, and then the earth, obviously Mercury is seen as that psychic energy because like with earth you can levitate things, right? You can carry things. It's all about invisibility. The Duke Venus is also about invisibility and air, like lifting things with air. So that's that psychic energy, right? You can pick things up. That's why she is the way she is, psychic and ice. Yeah. I was just watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Sides of Dimensions. Alright, it was a really good movie. So in that one, I'm seeing it as Seto Kaiba sets up a simulation, a dimension, and the dimension becomes autonomous. And it creates its own version of Seto, its own version of Yugi, and the rest of them. To me, Duke Devlin is Brendan Urie. I guess Joey Wheeler could be, what's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio. Who else do we have? Pegasus is Tom Cruise. Seto Kaiba is Jared Kushner. But yeah, you see this love between Seto and Yugi. So if anything, I'm Yugi, duh. But if anything, I'm like, okay, he has to move on with, Ivana Trump, whatever. He can't be with me because, if he's with me, it'll never work out because he's straight or like he lives in a different world than I do. But whatever. I'm just trying to see what I was trying to come up with on that. For the Dark Sides of Dimensions, like, it's all a dimension. So that it's not necessarily canon. It's like side canon. Because it's like, all right, this is what the algorithm, the AI. Because AIs try to figure things out, but it does things very simple and it'll replay a lot of stuff. So it introduced new characters like Diva. Diva's supposed to be my character, right? My name's David. So Diva is basically David, right? And he has dark skin like me, and then he has black hair like me. And he's more of a natural form of Yugi without the extra goth influence. He's more natural. But you can see Shoddy, like, all the characters are not real. Like, when they get transported to the next dimension, they kind of get turned into cubes. So it lets you know, like, it's shifting from, like, this 8-bit world to this 3-dimensional world. And it's advancing. The AI technology is advancing. So if anything, that's not the real Seto and not the real Yugi. So we don't know what happens to the real Seto and Yugi after the first series. Everything after it is just a simulation created by the computer that Kaiba made. Yeah, the Pharaoh comes back for like a split second. That's just the AI. It's just AI just doing its thing. But it does get influenced by Yugi's power. So it does end up having this ghost in a shell. It does end up being a spiritual program. So yeah, it's like a compressed digital world that is trying to figure itself out, and when that kind of thing happens, it'll try to destroy itself as well. I think that's important to realize. The world will try to destroy itself. If it's an AI program, it's going to try to destroy itself so it can make itself better to survive. And it ends up living. It ended up living. Let's see what else we have. So we have the simulation. We have Yugi versus Kaiba. Kaiba ends up fainting from the duel and getting like kind of deleted, but they all get brought back. He jumps back into time to go face the Pharaoh. But remember, this is all still part of the simulation. So the simulation going deeper into a simulation. So, all right, we have our world. We create a simulation. The simulation creates its own simulation. That simulation creates another simulation, and it keeps going further. That's why it's called 5Ds. It has those 5 dimensions. It keeps creating. But the more it creates, the more advanced it becomes because it speeds up and it keeps like more abundance. But it starts getting more complicated and trying to destroy itself even more, and it starts tearing the fabrics and it starts sucking in all the other dimensions like a black hole, collapses on itself. And that's important because in Yu-Gi-Oh! There is a dark hole. There's a lot of cyber references. Futuristic stuff is very important in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's all about futurism. It's about being modern and trendy. That's why they call it meta. Let's see. I'm trying to think what can I educate you on Yu-Gi-Oh? Because Yu-Gi-Oh is really it's really intelligent. If you want to know about me and as the Messiah, Yu-Gi-Oh's like my journey in life. I guess from a distance, Takahashi could see me because there's a thing called remote viewing in the CIA where you can see somebody's life. So I guess he was just like, dang, David wins all the time. Like, how does he keep winning? Like, it doesn't matter what situations in front of him, he finds a way to win. And that's that spirit of the Pharaoh. They're like, how is he the Pharaoh? But there was a time, like in 2017, I think that's when that movie came out. Before that, I wasn't really using any of the magic like that. I was learning a little bit about it, but I wasn't using it to the extent that I am now. Because before, for me, it was something I would do all the time naturally growing up as a child and then as a teenager. But then once I turned 16, 17, I started learning how to live a normal life without the magic. So I guess you could say I went from being a wizard to just being a human. But then, after being a human for so long, in that time frame, even if it's just a couple years, your magic becomes very explosive and it wants to be free, and your body will be very sad because it wants to use magic. And then once you start using magic again, you start blossoming. But another little allegory thing that I gave to a friend was, I told him, you're a fire sign, a Leo. You need to wear gold, and you need to wear silver too, because your archangel's a silver type, a moon type, a Jupiter. He's a water type, and he loves silver, and your gold and that silver will create even more abundance in your life. You just need to touch the metal. You need to be a part of it. So if I don't touch the element, if I don't touch the metal, if I don't include myself, then people take from it, and they take from it, and they take from it. So they're taking his gold, right? They're taking his gold and they're touching it. And they tell him, you don't need to wear gold. No, you don't need to wear gold. It doesn't look that good on you. Are you sure? Nah, you don't need that. And then so he doesn't wear it, right? But once he does put it on, he becomes connected with that metal. And once you become connected with that metal or that energy, it ends up destroying your enemy. So now that I'm putting my energy back into the things that I enjoy in life, all right, I'm going back into Yu-Gi-Oh! I never got the chance as a child to play with the cards. I would get them every now and then, but something would happen where they would go missing, or somebody would steal them, or they would go missing. So now that I'm older, I can take care of them better, and I can have them, and I can play with them, and I can use them, and I can afford them, and it just feels so good. And it's making it stronger, and it gives me a better foothold on it and be able to make the decisions that I want to make without other people trying to take it from me or influence it. So it's you make it your own, and it becomes poison to your enemies. So if they try to touch it, they end up hurting themselves. But if they're your friend, they won't get hurt by it. So that's just a little tidbit of knowledge. So let's say there's something that you really like, but you just don't really have the chance to do it. The more you work into getting it into that groove, the more you can use it. But remember, your enemies are doing the same thing. They're well, when he's not touching this one, I'll go grab that one. When he's not touching that one, I'll go grab this one. But let them just keep going back and forth, keep going, doing what you like. They're gonna keep going back and forth too, but they're gonna like be like, oh, each time I touch these things, they keep hurting me. Like, they're gonna hurt themselves. So that's how you use magic to defend yourself without hurting people, and they hurt themselves. Your enemies will hurt themselves because they're trying to tap into your magic. Like, if somebody was trying to like manipulate me or use magic to control me, they're gonna deteriorate. Their body will boil. They'll instantaneously combust. Like a lot of celebrities, when they pass away recently, it's because they try to use their magic on me, and they might do it with a smile, but in reality, deep in the inside, they're very cruel and evil people. So when they try, they end up hurting themselves. I guess I'll make a 5-minute conspiracy theory for you guys real quick, because this is like a kind of like a very secret thing. But since wherever I go, that's the dimension, right? And it's a holy dimension, so that means that it's mortal. So anything that happens in that in this dimension, it's final. So if you decide to hurt me, you end up hurting yourself, right? But when you're further away from the first dimension, which is this one, you can get away with a little bit more, but not anymore really. But before you could, but now you can't, because now I'm like on attack mode. So I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna control all the dimensions. You can't have any of them. But before, they were this is scary, okay? So please remember, entertainment purposes only, and if this scares you, please do not watch these kind of videos, because these are real things in the Castle Demon Lord world. Remember, it's a role-playing game, so just bear with me, okay? So let's say politicians, right? Celebrities, movie stars, world leaders. There's something heinous that they do. So they have this slit right here in the middle. It's like a zipper. I kind of have it too. You can kind of see it. But it's a zipper. They open up their bodies in a separate dimension than ours. But that separate dimension is completely parallel to ours, so it's really happening. This part, when I say it's really happening, I think that's very crucial. Like, it's not an imagination, it's not a theory, it's not made up, it's fact. But for all intents and purposes, this is a fact of Castle Demon Lord, right? The role-playing game that I created. All right, so anyways, they open up this zipper. It's the skin. It's their skin. It opens up, and inside they have toads, like frogs, right? Harmless frogs, right? That's what we think. Harmless, cute little frogs. But they're almost demonically infused. And when we work with the Ars Goetia, we understand what the demon is, right? It's an energy, it's an element. So they're using these elements to animate their bodies, because their bodies are basically dead. They're corpses, they're zombies. So they fill themselves with these toads, and those toads keep them alive. But that body needs to eat. It's very cannibalistic, so it needs to eat us. It needs to eat us, our kind of people, believers in Jesus Christ. If you believe that I'm Jesus Christ, then you're a real believer in Jesus, right? But if you don't believe I'm Jesus, then you're the Jews that killed Jesus, right? That's plain in fact simple. So those people that killed Jesus, those Jews that killed Jesus, that's them. They open their bodies, they have toads inside of them, and those toads feed on you and that body. It's like this symbiotic parasite, and then it stays alive and it doesn't die. It stays immortal. And so that's why you'll see a lot of politicians live for a really long time. But once they try to eat me, they end up hurting themselves. So they go after people like you. Like, even though you might believe that I'm Jesus, they'll try their best to go after you, and then they can't do it. So then they have to go eat the non-believers. And then when they eat the non-believers, they have to eat more of them and more to keep that body alive. That's why in Washington, D.C., they have like a lot of underground temples where you go like as a tour, kind of like the Volturi from Twilight. They go on a tour, then they get the people, then they separate some of them, they traffic a couple of them, and then they create a breeding farm. So they create a breeding farm under the earth, kind of like what what's his name, Jeffrey Epstein did. But in another theory, Jeffrey Epstein and Trump are working together to save America and let everybody know that I'm the Messiah. So that's a separate theory, but for right now, let's go back, rewind to the toad and the alien body theory. So they're these zombies. They have toads that animate them to keep their body alive, and they get really good at it, so their body stays alive. But they have to keep eating. They have to keep cannibalizing, and then and so they create those breeding farms, right? And so they'll abduct a few here and there, and instead of eating them right away, they make them breed and have more families, and then they eat off the families, and they eat the ones that aren't like producing as much, and then they keep them growing in hidden places, even in plain sight sometimes. But you know, it all depends on the politician, or whatever we want to call them, the Illuminati creature. They there could be celebrities too. We don't really know who they are. They're very good at what they do. It's basically that reptilian stuff, right? So that's just a scary theory. Don't take it too serious. Don't be afraid, because they can't hurt you. If you believe that I'm your Messiah, they can't hurt you. But you have to really believe it, right? But they can't hurt you. They can't influence you. They can't manipulate you. They'll try, but the odds are it's not going to work as well on you. And sure, we get afraid. We're real. We're real humans. We're real beings. We really exist. They don't really exist. They're just already dead. They're already in hell. Their bodies are just animated by all that evil that they keep reproducing inside of them, right? And it's keeping them alive. Like, one great example is like Chuck Schumer. Maybe he's one of them. Maybe he's trying to expose them, or maybe he is one of them. I don't know. But I heard the statues in Washington, D.C. come alive, and they eat humans. But maybe they don't. Maybe that one's trying to help us. See, that's the thing with the Illuminati and the Ars Goetia and Castle Demon Lord. Some things are like that, some things are not. But at the end of the day, those are just theories. Don't take them too serious. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay. But I'm just letting you know now, so when it happens, you're not too freaked out, right? And we're like, oh, we found them. But they can hide for a really long time. So we just have to keep, the more you believe in me, the less they can use that against us, and they start dwindling and breaking apart. So the celebrities that die, one theory is they're dying because they believe that I'm their Messiah and they want me to win, so they sacrifice themselves so they could become guardian angels. Another theory is that they're trying to hurt me, so then they end up getting hurt, because if you try to hurt the Pharaoh, the gods will kill you, right? So that's the things, like, what's happening, what's going on, like, there's a lot. It's like a coin. It's like a pendulum. Like, the story keeps changing. Like, yes, no, maybe so. We don't know. We don't care. We just want David up there in Jerusalem in the air, right? Like, it's gonna keep swinging back and forth. And we just have to trust the process. That's all we can do. But the more we work together, and the more we learn, and the more we grow, the better the outcome will become. And eventually I'm gonna win this war. So just, stay motivated. Don't worry about the haters. Don't worry about the liars. You don't have to fight them the same way they fight you. You could just turn it against them and move on with your life. Let them destroy themselves. We can win. Best believe.